Hello, everyone. I think we are live. I'm going to wait to make sure we've got audio going. And let me adjust this a bit. I'm going to need your help tonight. Well, Nick, really, message me or heck, even text me. This camera keeps going out. I don't know why. Just let me know when I spelled join wrong. Whoops. Whatever. My mom's texting me that I'm misspelling stuff. Oh God, it's going to go back to my childhood. She's going to make me take at-home spelling tests outside of school. There was much resentment for that one. None of my friends had to take spelling lessons or spelling things. Apparently I was really bad at spelling and still am because I can't spell join. I'm going to blame my phone on that one. Anyway, I'm guessing it's what she saw over on Instagram. Moving on. I need you to let me know if this camera freezes up, if I don't notice it, because that has been an issue all night and I don't know why. So anyway, tonight we are going to be drawing this owl in pan pastels with colored pencil on top for detail. This is a 5x7. You can, as always, bid on this. The link is in the video description. You can bid over on my website if you are in the US. If you are not in the US and you have friends in the US who would be willing to ship it to you, I can ship it to them. But there we go. Oh, we are already off to a good start from I have to say it quiet. I think they're going to learn Kristen's name. Well, they didn't learn it yet. From Kristen, we've got a super chat. That nice dingo Wade. You already get a treat today. I want to point out how good these boys are. I didn't realize this bag of their favorite treats was sitting on the floor. I better give it to them before Gibson starts drooling all over me. But this was sitting on the floor all week, open. At any point, either one of these boys could have come in and helped themselves, and they didn't. And it's like, wow, those are some good dogs. Well, kind of. You're kind of a bad cow. You probably just didn't realize because you're kind of derpy. You, however, are a genius and just are good. Oh, thank you so much, Kristen. Okay, boys, go lay down. Go lay down. Like, but we ignored them all week long. We're such good boys. Oops, there we go. I'm missing one. And there he goes, as slow as possible. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and get started on this guy. I am working on MeWe. This is a black paper. I'm going to let the black of the paper work through this, so it saves me some work. And I'm working on the smooth side. I used to always work on the rough side when I did MeWe or the charcoal, but it turns out with pan pastels just sticks to everything really, really well. So I can work on the smooth side, which means when I start in with the colored pencil, it sticks really well. Okay. So let's get started on this. I am going to be using my soft tools, and the links for everything that I'm using are in the video description. This is a soft tool, kind of a rounded tip there, and I'm going to just get started on the owl. Now I am going to pull black back over the background, but I'm going to start with the owl first. And the reason that I'm going to put black on top of the black, one, it's super fast, but that way if I get any smudges for my fingers or anything like that, it's just going to go away. Also, I need, where is my Spectrafix? Hold on one moment. I definitely am going to need that. And where did I put it? Well, heck. I have no idea where I put it. Maybe, give me a second. They absolutely need that. I mean, no, I do need it. So we're going to have to waste some time while I found the water. I have two of these jars. One has water, one has Spectrafix. Maybe it's down here. Hold on. Let me just park my rear on the floor and see if it got squished back here. We'll just pull the colored pencils out since we'll need those later anyway. We'll toss them over. Huh. I really thought I was prepared this time. I should have known better. It's like I jinxed myself. Okay, it's not there. This is why I should not clean. Well, cleaning's fine, but when I organize, nothing ends up where it's supposed to be. And I didn't even organize well. Oof. It's in here. I know for a fact it's in this room. I just have to figure out where in this room. Fun times. Let's see. Like, there are not that many places it could be in here. Should I stick it over here with the acrylic paints? Or, I mean, if I put it in here, that would have been a really stupid place, which means it's kind of likely. Crap. We're off to a great start. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. I bet it's sitting right in front of me and I'm just not seeing it. Wait, let me double check back here. Maybe once I get started, it'll like pop up somewhere. That's really annoying. Oh, there it is. For some reason, it was behind my plants. This is what happens when I organize. Like, there's no reason that should have been back there. What a weird location. Also, thank you so much, Angela. Okay, wait, did they notice? I said that kind of, they noticed. Thank you, Angela, for the super chat. Okay, I'm out of breath now from looking because I'm that out of shape. Someone needs to start taking her hounds on walks. Oh, the chatter, so excited. Good boys. Thank you so much, Angela. Okay, I still am like, why was that behind a plant? Like, I don't know if you can see the plants back there. It was on one of those shelves behind where the boys go. That is the most random, like, why? Okay, boys, go lay down. That was it. Lay down. Okay, are we down? Kinda. Missing one. Slowest race dog ever. Okay, now we can get started. So the reason that I need the Spectrafix, let me scroll down. There we go. The reason that I need, oh, yeah, we are on the right camera. The reason that I need the Spectrafix is once I get my layer of pan pastel down, I want to put a coat of that on to kind of seal it better, so then I can go on top with a colored pencil without just knocking and smudging the pan pastels all over. So I'm going to start with his eye. Now, the reference photo, which you can download over on my website, link is in the video description. His eye is more brown. I'm going to go with a little bit more of a golden tone just for the eye. This has a little bit of cream mixed in because it was already on that brush. Let's reload and add some more. Now, if everything isn't perfectly clean or detailed, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to go over and get the finer, more refined, that's not redundant, details in just a moment. And actually, this color looks really good on the black. Let's pull a bunch of this back here for the feathers. Now, obviously, these are not going to be exact, but I do want them to go in the right location. I don't care if the feathers are exact to the reference photo, as long as they are going in that right direction. So you don't want to, and this is a problem that a lot of people have when they're doing feathers, fur, hair. They'll make a couple of brush strokes and it looks good. It looks like fur or feathers or whatever it is they're doing. And so they repeat that same brush stroke again and again and again. And now it's so uniform, it no longer looks realistic. It's just sloppy. So watch that photo. Which direction are those feathers moving? I don't care if they're exact as far as like 15 feathers going that direction, 14 going this direction. I don't care about that at all. What I care about is that they're going in the right direction, about the right length and width. Now, another tip, when you draw out your work, what I like to do is make sure that it's going to fit the size I wanted. So like this is a 5x7, which is a standard size. I want it to fit in a 5x7 frame, which makes the overall mat, or 5x7 mat, the overall mat size. The outer edge will be 8x10, the inside is 5x7. So what I do is make sure when I draw it that it's going to fit right within that. And this one actually, whoever, if you bid on this and win this one, you are going to get a black mat, not the ugly white mat. This is just so I can make sure my sizing is right. But you want to try to, if possible, if you can stay within standard size. Now, I'm not saying restrict your work because sometimes it's just going to look better to have this weird, super long abs, like weird shape, abnormal shape. That's fine. But in something like this, I'm not going for a unique dimension here. So why not go with something that's standard that is easy for the customer to frame? So, or in my case, matte. So there we go. just something that you want to think about when you are drawing everything out and figuring out the size that you want. Now, how did I make sure that this stayed the exact size I needed? I had everything pre-drawn out and used a projector to project it onto the paper in the size that I wanted, and I held the mat there to make sure it was like exact where I wanted positioned. So it just gives me a lot of control. Another thing that you can do is if you want to trace things, like even if you want to freehand it on another piece of paper, but then I would put it on the computer monitor and shrink it down to the exact measurements I want and then trace that and use transfer paper to transfer it onto the paper. It gives you clean lines and a lot of control to make sure your sizing is exactly right. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to come through, I'm going to wipe this off, and I've just got an old, it's actually a paper towel from recent painting. It's all weirdly dried out. I'm going to wipe some of that off, and let's pick up some white. And just load this directly from the little Pan Pastel containers. Same thing, just going to watch the direction of the feathers. We'll define them a bit better with colored pencil, but go for close. Reload that. Now I'm not going to go too fluffy around this area. I'm going to take care of that with my pencils, the definition, the little lines. So don't try to do that with your Pan Pastels. It'd be too thick. This is kind of gray, so I'm just going to let the white fade out so that the black is showing through, and I don't even have to mix gray. It's just working out that way. Ow. That was my elbow. Past tense. Okay, we've got his nose. I'm not even going to do, oh, I lied, I am. I have to be careful. I'm not going to worry about the edge of the beak. I'll clean that up with the colored pencil, but I don't want to go outside the edge there, so we'll just leave that like that. And let's get some browns. I lied, I'm going with black so that I can put brown on top when I get in here, and then I'm going to use the black while it's on the brush, let that blend so I get that soft transition. So really the only colors that I needed on this were I think this was red oxide. Nope, burnt sienna. My burnt sienna, oh, red oxide's this one. My burnt sienna, black and white. So if you are interested in getting started with Pan Pastels and you don't want to invest in the whole set, or a whole set, I guess there's more. I don't even have a whole set. I have a set of 20. But if you don't want to invest in that, you can start with just a few colors. Look how, I mean, I'll be able to do this whole base with just 3 colors. Black, white, and the raw sienna. And that's true with any medium you're working in. Don't feel like you need to run out and buy every, and it's easy to say because I know I do the same thing, I want all the colors, but don't feel like you need to run out and buy all of the colors to get started in a medium. Buy a few, get started with it, and add to it as you save up. He looks really disgusted with life right now. I would be too if I looked like this at this stage. Okay, now I can go ahead and I'm going to switch to a clean one. Wow, and I have a clean one ready. What is this world coming to? If it weren't for that whole Spectrafix situation, I'd actually be prepared, would have been prepared tonight. Okay, so I'm just loaded up some black, and I'm gonna go over this entire background, and that way as if I accidentally smudge something, if I get a bit of the pencil, something, anything where it's not supposed to be, I just smudge back over it with the black. I'm not having to worry about keeping the paper totally clean. That's always one of the annoying things. Like, let's say you're working on white paper and you want to leave the white background. It is such a pain to make sure that that background stays completely white and doesn't get smudged. So in this case, I can just avoid that headache. I'm just gonna throw black over it. Plus, this black will be darker than what the paper was anyway. So it gives me a really pretty soft look. You can see I don't really care what direction I'm going in. I'll smooth it out after I get some of this product just loaded onto the paper. The other nice thing is sometimes, even with the fine mist sprayer I use for Spectrafix, occasionally a drop will come out a little bit too heavy. If I'm on just the black paper, sometimes that'll leave a mark here. If it leaves a mark, again, I just smudge right over it, problem solved. So lots of benefits to going this route. Okay, that's really all I need. Oh, I lied. I'm gonna pull some back over here. I want that to fade out better. That's all I need for the pan pastels for now. Now I can always come back once the colored pencil is going, I can put the pan pastels back over. So unlike, let's say, when I've done watercolor and then colored pencil on top, once I start with the colored pencil stage, I do watercolor first, colored pencil over it. I don't want to then go back and put watercolor back over the colored pencil because now I'm putting a water-based product on top of the wax and oil-based colored pencils. Pan pastels is not really an issue with being archival. You can kind of work back and forth, and I've not ever had any issues with that. Okay, so let me get this put away, grab the pencils. And I don't remember if I told you, maybe I didn't mention this, but at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I package a smaller painting, an 8x10. I'm going to box one up right here because it should have been sent 3 weeks ago and I totally forgot about it and remembered yesterday in a panic. So we're going to do that tonight live, and I'll show you exactly how I box stuff to ship. Let me make sure this is not... Okay. So grab these, which weigh a ton. Ow. All right. What am I doing? Let's start. Oh, I'm going to need glassine. So that is actually step one. Oh, where can I put these? You can sit there. So I'm going to stick the glassine. Right. Oh, wait, no. What am I doing? Spray. That was the whole point of all the drama. Oh, something is happening to my spray bottle. That is all crinkled inside. That may need to get... Still works. Okay, I'm going to do a light mist here. Okay, a little bit more. That is not a light mist at all. Let me dry that. Okay, and we see we've got, well, that sets for a second. Now, well, English, Lisa. I should try that sometime. So drying that with a hairdryer, not only did it speed it up, it helped this paper. Inktense is very absorbent, and so it warps like crazy when you mist it with the fine mist sprayer. It mostly dries back into shape if it's taped down the way it is, mostly, but it'll dry completely flat if I take the hairdryer to it. The other thing is obviously it speeds things along. So quick break. I really cannot talk tonight. Break. We've got a couple of, they're not paying attention, super chats. Oh, I saw an ear twitch. We've got, the first is from Heather Bryant, has a super chat for the boys. But you're just going to wait there, Gibson? He's like, I'm not sure if you said the word. Yeah, you can come. It's a super chat. Gibson, do you not want a super chat? He tries so hard to be good. It's the same thing when I let them into the house. They have to wait till when I open the door, when they've been outside, they have to wait for the word clear. Gibson will stay, he won't, if I just say the word, it's not enough. I have to make eye contact and say it with him. He's funny, he tries so hard to be good. So I'm making up for a bad cow. Good boys. So there is the first from Heather Bryant. We're gonna do this in 2 trips. Otherwise they say every time they think they're gonna get 2 in a row. Go lay down, 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 down. Wait. There we go. Down. If you hurry up, it happens faster, even though you don't think it's about to happen. And then we've got the super chat from Rob who says, good break time for the boys. Oh, look at Gibson's face. You want a super chat, Gibson? Okay, thank you, Rob and Heather. Okay, last one. Well, for now. Stop, yeah, you keep poking me with your nose. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, it's all gone. Go lay down. Thank you again. Lay down, boys. Down. All the way. Good boys. Okay, so this should be dry and ready to go. Let's see. Back to glassine. So with glassine, why do I use this and not normal paper? Normal paper, it still absorbs things and things can stick to it. So let's say a piece of colored pencil or a little like nugget of pan pastels. If it gets stuck to one side and I slide this over, it can leave a mark, where this, nothing is going to stick to it. It's archival, it's acid free, so it's no problem having it touch the artwork. And actually, even when I ship paintings, when I pack the other painting later that you'll see, I will always cover it first in glassine before I put I can't talk or think of words tonight. Weirdly enough, I'm not even tired. I have no excuse. Before I put cardboard on it, because cardboard is not acid free or archival. We put this in between and somebody is choking on something. Really? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this down. Now the other thing, I will likely do another layer with the black on the background, because I find that when I put a line like this sometimes, especially if it's a solid background, I'll have a light area just from working, little powders, whatever. I'll have a light line where the glassine or whatever paper you're using was covering it and where it was not. When I lift this, I will lightly go over it again with pan pastels just to smooth out any black lines so that that isn't a thing, because I have had that happen a million times. So I'm going to start around the area by the eye. I'm going to be using black with the polychromos first. And let's go ahead and grab a couple of pencils that I will be using. I've got black. I'm going to be using the Sanguine. Also, that is polychromos. I want the cream and white. I'm just going to grab these with polychromos. I don't know how much of other colors I'm even going to need tonight besides my polychromos. Yeah, I like the browns with these better for most of what I'm doing. And maybe a little bit of burnt ochre. Let's start with these tonight. So I do want these to be very sharp, but I don't really need them. This one's probably sharp enough. So all I'm going to do is define this area around the eye better. Make sure that's nice and rounded. And we've got it gets thicker here, and then we've got this definite dark shadow. And now I'm going to sharpen this pencil. I'm going to use the white polychromos. I may need gray too. Let me grab that one. This one is the cold gray. Yeah, that'll be better for the detail right around the eye here. Got a little bit of a lighter area on this. I'm going to switch to white. Now I'm going to make the shine on the eye a bit more curved. On the reference photo, it's just a dot, like there's one light. I don't like that look, so we're going to make ours a little bit more defined. We've got some detailing in the eye. We're going to follow that around. And this one is the Sanguine. And any of my pencils would really work fine with this. I'm going with the polychromos just because they're going to sharpen to a finer point, and I don't necessarily need anything super opaque going over the pan pastels. Using a little bit of brown on the edges. And look how just darkening right in these corners, right here and here, that gives the eye so much more dimension. I need to make sure this is shaped the way I want. And then the black in the center needs to come way down. Notice that the highlight is curved. This will help give that the eye a more three-dimensional look than just being a flat dot or line. A few more little details in here. Use the brown again right on these edges. There we go. How hard am I pressing? It appears to be a light touch. What I just did, I pushed harder. So like here, I did push down pretty hard. But for the most part, if I'm doing a super sharp, harsh edge, I'm pushing harder. I'll point out how hard I'm pushing as I move through would probably be the easier way as I go through this. So here, not pushing too hard. I don't need to push very hard here. This is really showing up pretty well. He's got his little eyelid. Here, very light hand. I don't need to push hard. I'm going to switch over to brown as I do a lot. Actually, I think I'm going to need a little bit of a lighter brown. This one is a Bistre. Bisque. I get those mixed up. And we'll start using this color. Yeah, this works really well for these lighter browns. Watching the direction of these feathers, and I'm just working my way out around the eye. So instead of going, okay, I've got this sanguine color, I'm going to put pencil down everywhere where sanguine is, I'm going to put it down now. You will lose your place and your artwork is going to look terrible. Pick one area. It doesn't matter what area. I could start with a beak. I could start with a random feather off here. Pick one area and just work your way out. Focus on one zone at a time. If you're trying to jump around too much, now at the end I'll jump around doing little touch-ups here and there, but when you're first getting started in a piece, focus on that one little area and work your way out. So I've got black. We've got these feathers here sticking out. Got a lot of the longer ones with the black, so we'll get these in. You can see why we needed that white or gray down first. If I didn't, then these black lines really wouldn't show. We've also got some of the gray that will come out over the beak, so I'll switch to gray here. And I want to touch up the beak. Nice harsh edge. I'm pushing pretty decently hard there and very hard here. It always amazes me how well white polychromos show up on top of pan pastels and Inktense and MeWe, because it is not the most opaque when you go over other colored pencils, but man, is it wonderful for these. Now this line here is too white all the way down. I'm going to switch to gray, pull that up, and then soften that line right in here, overlapping the white just a bit. And I'm going to switch over to black because I really want the tip of that beak just to fade out a bit. I'm not pushing hard there. Just want that soft look. Much better. And what's next? Now this, I do want to point out too, my camera is at a slight angle, so it looks a little bit warped compared to what it looks like in person. So go by your reference photo to make sure yours is shaped just right, and you can again download that at my website. Got some little wispy guys. I'm going to use the gray for that. I don't want to use white because it would be way too bright. Some wispy guys here. Although with my inability to say words tonight, it sounds like I had whiskey. I did not. Okay, and I want to work back in this area here, start focusing more there. So we've got a shadow right in here. We want to pull out. Just keep looking at that reference photo. That reference photo has all the information on where your lights and darks go. I see this all the time when I'm working with students in person, or when I used to work with students in person, where they look at the reference photo and they're like, okay, I got it. And they go to town on their artwork and they don't got it. They did not have what they thought they had memorized. Look at the photo. It shows you where your lights and darks go. Like, don't make things harder on yourself if you don't need to. Got a little bit of the sanguine right on the inside of the nostril there. What do we need next? I'm going to do a little bit of white highlighting in here. Not too crazy, right in between some of the black. Okay, and as I come up here, I want to make this fade nicer, right between the white and into the area we were just working. And now let's come on top with the brown. So here we've got a lot of combinations of, I'll use the yellow, the light ochre. Actually, I think I'm going to need cream too. I don't get a chance to use that color much. Let's grab that. Wait, where is that? Maybe I don't use it much because I don't know where it is. That is definitely a possibility. Or ivory, not cream. I think it's ivory I'm looking for. I think cream is more of a yellow color. What I'm thinking is ivory. Yeah, cream is yellow. That is not what I'm looking for. I know I have some. Oh, you know what? I'll just grab a new one. Hold one. Oh, wait. I know I can't find it. It's right in front of me. Yeah. And if you don't have pastels, you can do this just with colored pencil. You're just going to spend a little bit more time getting your base layers in there. So this is the cream. The pan pastel makes things way faster, but that doesn't mean you can't do it without. You're still going to be paying attention to the direction that your feathers go, the detailing, all of that would be the same. And you can use the same, like polychromos will by itself will work just fine, even without the pan pastels on this. Any of your colored pencils really will work great on Canson Me-10s. So what I want to pay attention to, that's a really sharp pencil. I am pushing harder with it. Switching to the ivory. This is another area. I don't need it exactly shaped like the photo, but it does need to be close. If I go too light, it's no big deal. Ow, elbow, I keep doing that tonight. I'll just go back over it with dark areas, or with the black if I get too light. You can work back and forth. Layer until it looks good. But remember, if you push too hard, if you're doing where you're like right there, I am pushing a little harder. If I push too hard, it's going to flatten the tooth of the paper and I'm not going to be able to get many more layers on top of that. And a lot of what I'm doing, I'm working with the feathers that I did with the pan pastels. Why make more work for myself? I can, every one of those pencils or brush strokes I made with pan pastel, turn that into a clump of feathers. I don't need to create new clumps of feathers, if that makes sense. Also, we have D. Lynn Creative Arts said, nice to finally catch a live stream. Thank you. Look, Wade knows. Oh, so does Gibson. You got a super chat. Thank you so much, Lynn. Okay. Did you get a reward? Didn't even have to work very hard, huh? So we worked hard by not eating those treats during the week by ourselves. Good boys. Okay, go lay down. Thank you so much. And it's nice to have you here. Oops, I didn't even give it to him here. What? You get the point. Gibson's like, you didn't have the camera. You should get another one. Go lay down, Gibson, lay down. I'm bad at cameras. I don't know where my brain is tonight. Okay. So, and I'm going to go back and forth with the sanguine and the yellow ochre. Yellow ochre or yellow oxide? Which did I say it was? Yellow ochre. No, burnt ochre. It was none of those things. But I'm going back and forth with that because I do want the variation between that, the ivory. We'll get some brown in there. Again, I'm working with the feathers that I created, these clumps. See how I'm just defining better what's already there. I'm not creating new ones. I'm using my own arm like a maul stick because I don't want to move I need to rest my hand. So what I'm doing, I've got one hand on the easel and my other hand here to steady it so that I don't have to move the glassine for this area. Look how much that shows up. It looks so good. Now you can, if you did want to, you can use your odorless mineral spirits on top of pan pastels. Just make sure you've got a good coating of the SpectraFix or whatever fixative you're using. I can't say it would work great with every fixative. I've not tried it with every fixative. I know with I can't talk SpectraFix, it works fine. If you don't have enough SpectraFix and you go over it with OMS, you start creating a bit of a paste. It's not cute. I mean, you can fix it. It doesn't ruin anything. It just doesn't look good until you fix it. And by fix it, I mean do it, work on top of it until it looks good again. I'm going to use the ivory to pull these white feathers out. God, he is already looking good. I should just do owls all the time. Did this. Just making sure I don't have any messages saying, nope, it didn't freeze. Okay. Let's see. How are we doing on? We've got a bid for the owl already. Yay! You get a home that's not my home. See how, again, just working with the feathers that I previously did. Now, you know, I was saying focus on one little area, don't jump around too much. Okay, yeah, but when I get farther away from the subject out to the edges, I break my own rule and I can be a little bit sloppier and not worry so much about it. And I'm going to make sure those highlights are closer to the face. Actually, let's move into this area now. I'm going to use the Bistre. I can't say the words. So these are just little guys in here, and they're going to be a lot of overlapping. I don't know how well that'll show up on the camera there. Let me see if I can zoom that in a bit for you. There we go. It's very subtle, but I still want them there. See, they keep changing direction here. We've got them a little bit longer. Now, right now, it's going to look fairly flat because I'm only using this color. I'm going to come back through with some ivory or grays and get some different tones in there. So you can, they just keep changing direction. We're going to layer this down into the white bits a bit. And then let's start creating, I should have had a few more feathers down here. Okay, and then we're going to use ivory. Define these. Actually, let's keep focusing on here a little bit more. I want to pull some more grays that it's going to stand out a bit more. Not everywhere. I don't want to cover all of it. I just want to get some variation. So it's not just flat brown everywhere. This is basically working like my little highlights without it being too in your face. What is this big empty clump? What did I do here? I guess we can do it with gray first. Missing a whole section there. Sorry, buddy. You had a bald spot. I hear there's shampoos for that. Or apparently white colored pencils. So we've got a few areas that are more defined, like really white. I'm going to push a little harder to find that better. But don't cover all of it. See how much of this where I'm letting the black show through. And then like there is a little bit too light. I'm just going to layer the black on top of some of it. Let that fade into the beak because you really don't see the bottom portion of the beak. It just fades into the black. So we want to make sure that stays dark. Otherwise it's going to look weird. I want detail, just not to be that bright. That's much better. And then we can use the white as well. We start getting out here, some little guys. And this is why I didn't want to do all of that with pan pastels. I wouldn't be able to get that fine of detail with those. Pencils, however, can do that. This is just a medium pressure. I'm not pushing super hard. Back to ivory. And I'm just constantly looking at the reference photo. And what I do for my setup, I've got a laptop, and that's what I used just for all my reference photos for years. And then I finally got a bigger computer monitor. I want to say that's a 27-inch. Is that a thing? And I mounted it to my wall. Before, when I lived in an apartment, and that would have been kind of a pain to mount to a wall, I had a shelf, like a cheap IKEA shelf, and I just sat on that next to my easel. But it's nice because I use a wireless mouse, and I can zoom in, I can zoom out. It makes it very easy, but I'm constantly looking up here at my reference photo as I work. And I like that better than printing the reference photo because the print never is as clear. Maybe I just don't have never get good printers, but also the ink is so expensive that I don't even want a good printer. So yeah, this is just way easier. We've got this definite light area that rings right around here. And we'll have some of that fade into the brown tones. I'm gonna get the white in there or I say white, the ivory first. We can put the beast or whatever over it. We've got a few issues up here I can fix. See, this is where I start jumping around because most of it's in it and I will just notice, oh, that's messed up. Let's fix that now. Now, depending on how much detail you want in your work, that can determine what size art your project should be. If you like tons and tons of tiny detail, work bigger. Working bigger makes room to get all that little detail, and it looks amazing when you photograph it. Of course, the downside there is it takes a lot more time. Some people don't want to put into it. So if you like more detail, make your life easier, work larger, but know it is going to take longer. This is nice because I can get a decent amount of detail, but I also have a more sketchy look with it. I don't need it to look, it's considered photorealistic, but it's not hyper realistic. That's where you can't tell if it's art or a high definition photo. That doesn't sound like fun to me. That takes way too much time. This is still realistic, but it's obviously, it has that sketchy look. It definitely looks like art. Oops, back to ivory. Just hit a few highlights on some of these. And actually, I want to make this area a bit brighter now that I've got other things blocked in. I can see where I want to brighten a few areas. I'm not pushing hard because I don't want that super bright. Here I'm pushing a bit harder because I do want that to stand out more. Now, one of the things I don't love, this camera has a tendency to make things look a little bit smoother than they do. This has a much lighter look. Let me show you on this camera. Let's see if you can see the details there. It has a more, like the lines are a lot thinner. Unfortunately at an angle, not to have the glare, but you get the idea. The lines are a lot thinner, a lot more delicate than what this camera tends to make them look a little bit more like paint globs. If you have any questions, leave them now. I'll be answering those at the end of the live stream. So if it seems like I'm ignoring you, I am, but only temporarily. And I don't want too many highlights as I move my way out. I really want to keep the focus here. So I'll get darker and darker as I move away from the owl. And actually a lot of that's going to be covered by the matte anyway. I want to go further than what I think the matte will be, just so it doesn't have a weird area where it stops. Now, something to keep in mind when you do animal paintings, or especially if you're a portrait artist, and trust me, I know, I'm speaking from experience because I used to do this too, avoid floating heads. They rarely look very good. They're like, make it softly fade out. Don't have a harsh line. Like if I see this all the time with pet portraits where it's like a dog, and I remember, I'll talk about the one I did, a collie, and it was so defined, the edge where his ruff was just cut off. That was it. And then the navy blue background. This was so long ago, like late 90s. the person who I painted it for loved it, but it's still like, looking back, I would not put that on my website even if I could find a photo of it. It was just floating dog head. Either make the body, make the neck, make it go off the page, or even just soften it as you move off. But just having floating head, it has a weird, is not usually very cute. Let it fade off the page, not just harsh line where it stops. Like, I mean, here you can see we're just kind of fading out. That's going to give you a much more pleasing look. And yes, I know there are exceptions to everything. I'm sure you guys can find examples where floating head was cute, but more often than not, it's better if you just let it softly fade out. I'm not pushing very hard here because I don't want these lines super sharp. Again, you can bid on this guy if you want to own him. The link is in the video description if you're in the US. I don't want that. I want ivory. Just a few little highlights in here. I'm not pushing very hard, so it's not getting super dark. And by not pushing very hard, I mean it's barely touching the paper. Kind of a scribbly mess in here. Oop, that scared me. And we've got really bright in here. I'm going to push a bit harder. Really define those more. Now it's getting to where I have so many layers, the white polychromos is not standing out super well. So let me go ahead and grab a more opaque one. I'm going to go with either Caran d'Ache white, Luminance white, or the Derwent Derwent Lightfast. That'll work. Just making that stand out a bit more in a few places. And we're almost done with this guy. I am really happy with how he came out. That wasn't quite rounded right. There we go. And I'm pushing pretty hard with this pencil at this point. I have so many layers on there, it needs it in order to stay. Now, a common question I have is, do I use the Spectrafix or do I use a fixative on colored pencil work? Normally, if it's just colored pencil that I blended with OMS and that's it, no pan pastel, no powder blender, just colored pencil and OMS, no, I don't spray it. It doesn't need it. They are frame behind glass, done. If I'm working with powder blender, then I use brush and pencil. They make their final fixative. I use that. If I'm working with pan pastels, then I use the Spectrafix and a fine mist sprayer. But it's only because of the pan pastels. That's the part I'm trying to seal down. The colored pencils is not going anywhere. It doesn't need to be sealed with anything. Plus, some of the fixatives do not play nice with colored pencil. So if you ever do decide, no, you need it, test it first, because I've heard of people, I don't know what it was they used, but some of them, it just had a weird chemical reaction where it almost like melted the colored pencil. It was just a hot mess and it completely ruined, like it wasn't fixable. So make sure you always do a test on the type of paper you are planning to work on and the type of pencils you're using to see if it's all compatible. And I can't tell you which ones are or are not because I don't use anything but Spectrafix or brush and pencils final fixative. Just a few little things. We are almost done. See, this is that stage I was talking about where I'll come back through and start jumping around a lot. A little bit more of the reddish tone in here. And I'm just working with the feathers already there. I'm not inventing new ones. I want to keep them nice and soft. Some of these areas where it's smaller. Actually, I need to lighten a lot over here and then darken right in between this row here. We need a darker bit. Breaking that up, but it's not just a straight line. See how I'm just coming in between, skipping? Hold that down so it doesn't move. I'm adding a decent amount of pressure here. So I start breaking some of this up with the black. There is a weird loud noise outside. It almost sounds like cicadas, but cicadas, whatever, but it would be weird because it started all at once. I don't think that's anything in here. And then it just stopped. That was weird. I don't know what that was. Alien invasions. And this darker brown works really good for getting that softer transition between some of these colors. This is fun. I'm done early enough with this. I have some time to do those like more refined bits that I usually run out of time on. That makes the whole process much more enjoyable. Just let those soften out. See, I'm just picking up in between the dark areas that are already there. I'm not putting new dark areas in. I'm just defining them, cleaning them up, and it makes such a difference. Like in here. Getting these darks dark enough, getting that high contrast will make such a huge impact in your work. You can put all the detail in the world you want, but if you don't have your values in there well, you don't have good contrast, it's not going to matter. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do, let me see if I need to go over that. No, it actually didn't have much of a line. Usually I'll get a line. I can't see one. Huh, I guess I don't need to. Okay, so then the last thing is to figure out where my signature needs to go. Now, naturally, I would feel like signing the bottom corner. However, I know that's going to get cut off with a mat, so I always take a mat first, and let's figure out exactly where we want to do that. Also, I don't want to sign it with white if I'm going to put it down here, because it would be just this eyesore where your attention would be drawn to that corner. I want the attention to stay within the owl, probably sign in the owl's feathers. So we put the mat up, figure out where we want that positioned, and again, this will come with a black mat, not this monstrosity. And yeah, I prefer it here. Now, because I'm going to go over the feathers, I am going to use ivory so that it'll stand up. I'm knocking all my things down. Hold on. Okay, maybe it is the bugs. Yeah, I haven't heard them at all this summer, so that's weird. Okay, move along, Lisa. There we go. Now I know where the signature, look how high up that needs to go. That's what I'm talking about, why you need to take your mat and figure out where that's going to go so it doesn't get cut off. There we go. Okay. Or maybe my neighbor's doing something weird with this pole. I don't know. Anyway, there is the finished owl. Oh my gosh, I love him. Let me pull him in this one so you can see the lines better. I am so happy with this guy. Let's see. You can see he has a much softer look than, I feel like the lines are a bit too harsh for what you're seeing on the other camera. They look like big globs, whereas here it's a much more refined, like tiny little brushy lines, a softer look. So there we go. Again, all the supplies I used are listed in the video description. And let me clean this up, and I'm going to show you how I will box the painting that should have been sent 2 weeks ago. Actually, while we do that, let's do a message from the boys.
Without treats, these puppies are so sad. Your Patreon pledge of only $4 or more gives them cookies of happiness. Act now, and the bad cow gets a treat too. Oh, and you also get over 300 art lessons and a new one every single week, plus other rewards. Sign up at patreon.com/Lachri.
Okay, and I'm gonna have to get a little bit creative on my cameras here, so let me put a few more things away. Oh, look at me walking off with the Spectrafix I'm about to lose again. I shouldn't be allowed to touch my stuff. Okay. Now, how do I want to do this? I have a general idea. Let me move the light a bit. We're going to use this camera, I hope. Oop, maybe. Hold on, I have to do some stuff. How do I have this in here? That didn't do what it was supposed to do. Dang it. Come on. Lord. This is not do. Oh, wait, it might work anyway. Okay. Well. Hey, look. It's going to work without having to do the thing I was trying to make it do. Okay. Now, I need more light over here. This is the painting that I need. Oh. So I've got a big thing in front of me. Camera setup did not quite work as I planned. Also, we have, before we start, Rhonda says that the fat hounds need cookies of happiness. Okay, let me get that. Oh, I can't even reach my stuff now. This was not my best idea.
Without
nope,
treats.
That's the wrong button. Look at them. You guys are too cute. Want a super chat? I think that's a yes. Thank you so much, ow, Rolanda. I can't even see that right now. I think that's what it says. I'm too far away from the computer right now. I need to find a better way to move this. Oh, that's very good. Thank you. Okay, boys, go lay down. Lay down. Okay. So what I'm doing, besides having a camera, this is the stupidest setup. There has to be a better way for me to do this. How can I do this? Hold on. Oh, yeah, that actually probably will be better. Let me... Oh, yeah, there we go. Now just don't move. At least it's not as bad. Okay. Ignore the camera thing going here. So I'm going to show you how I package a smaller painting. This is an 8x10. Larger paintings, I do something completely different, but for the small ones, this is the method that I use. And all the supplies that I use for packaging these will be in the video description, except for those of you who are watching live. They're not in the video description because this was a last-minute plan. Gibson, why are you standing here? Go lay down. Yeah, I thought I didn't. Actually, I didn't notice. So I guess you were correct. Okay. So this painting was supposed to be sent on, well, I probably should have sent it 2 weeks ago, but I waited because I wanted 3 coats of varnish, and then I made it all nice and shiny, and that camera is not working again. This is the one that has been having problems all, let me deactivate and activate it. It's been having, there we go. We are back. Okay. So this painting I varnished, and then you need to let it dry for 2 hours, and then I varnish again, and then I kept forgetting. Look how pretty that varnish looks on that. Oh, this painting is gorgeous. So because I am so late, I am also going to include a giclée, and that looks terrible on the camera. It looks way better in person. And I always, whenever I do a sale, I'll show you what I include. Well, while I'm at it, I'll also show you what I include when I send a painting. So I will have a thank you card with my art on it, and then stickers or sticker. So I've got, in this case, because I'm late and I feel so guilty, I'm just throwing everything in the box. I've got I Heart Art, Hands Off, People Ink is an archival, and of course, Layer Until It Looks Good stickers. These are actually the stickers for patrons on the $19 tier that you guys get. I have extra. So these are the 3 things that I need to include in this box. The first thing that I need to do is protect this painting. I don't want, this looks really dark in here. It's lighter in person. But anyway, I don't want the cardboard touching the actual art, because that's not archival, and it just, let's just make it nice and good. So what I will do, I get glassine. And it comes in different sizes, but this one I really like because it's a little envelope, so it makes it easy to stick things in. This one is a 9.5 by 11 inch pack of glassine. So first we will stick the painting in there now that it's completely dry. Okay, and I am going to fit that and then fold it over onto the back. Now I don't have to worry about cardboard touching this at all. Dealing creative art. Let me tape this. Dealing Creative Art gave us a super chat, I'm going to say it quietly, said for Gibson's perseverance, never give up attitude. That's funny. How do you know? You're like, because you made a happy sound. You boys want a super chat? And that's a yes. Thank you. Look, your bad behavior got you a reward. Yeah, there you go. Oh, so tasty. Does love, does drool. Oh my gosh, that's why I'm packaging this up here. Nom. Okay, go lay down. Down, down. Gibson, this time for real. He's like, but it worked last time. No, lay down. Oh my gosh. Wade, down. What are you doing? Lay down. You can't lay in the same bed. You know Gibson won't do it. Are you serious right now? Okay, there we go. And we are going to stretch our way into the bed, and now we're down. Okay. So back to this. I am super tape happy. Anyone who's gotten something from me, you guys know. Have fun opening anything from me. So we're going to just tape up those edges. So this one is now ready to go. And I use these pieces of cardboard. When I can find them, because I've apparently got way too much crap over here. There we go. So I get a box of these cardboard pieces from Amazon. Now, whenever possible, I also cut down my Amazon boxes to fit standard sizes that I ship things in, so I reuse all my cardboard. But these are so convenient because it gets to the point I don't always have enough boxes when I'm behaving and not going crazy on Amazon. So I will do 2 on either side. And actually in this case, because I'm including the giclée, I've got 2 here, painting in the middle. I'm going to put the giclée, oh, this guy needs to be taped too. Because you are not where you're supposed to be there. You won't fit. There we go. And then the giclée, and then this is too tight. Hold on. Don't bend the giclée. You are not behaving. What are you doing? Hold on. I'm having some technical difficulties with the tape. Be smarter than the tape. I don't want this bent in shipping. So I'm gonna, You know what? I'm going to do it a different way. No, I'm not. That is just, what am I doing? Bend. Rob is probably laughing at me because he's used to comic books and dealing with these sleevey things. Okay, that looks better. Now, why don't I just put this on the painting? I could on the back, but I don't like to package something where one thing touches another whenever possible, because I've had in the past where I thought it'd be all fun to put a ribbon around the art, or not the art, it was around the cardboard, and I thought that was gonna be enough to protect the artwork. It didn't. It actually pushed in shipping on it enough that it left a little divot, and I had to do this portrait, $300 portrait. I had to start from scratch, and it was, actually, the $300 part isn't important. The part that's important is it's a week-long project. I had to start over. That was painful. So I now, whenever there's artwork, I always put a piece of cardboard in between that and anything else that's going to touch it. I'm not as worried about the giclée portion. I'm more concerned that the painting itself, I don't have to repaint. So that is in there. Now what I do, take it, this now has 2 pieces of cardboard on either side, so 4 total. Can I still bend it? It feels pretty good, but what I do when I'm packaging art is I think of it as, could I hand this to a toddler and let them play with it for a week? They're gonna stand on it, they're going to toss it around. Is it going to come out absolutely perfect if a toddler plays with this for a week long? If you could keep a toddler's attention that long, but you get the point. If not, you didn't package it well enough. And while this is pretty good and it's probably fine, I'm gonna put one more piece of cardboard. So yeah, that raises the cost of packing, but I would rather do that and be safe than, because I'm not putting this in a box. This is shipping just like this. I would rather do that and make sure there's no way this, yeah, that stabilized it enough. There's no way that's bending. So now I'm going to take my tape again. And at this point, I would recommend regular masking tape. I'm out of it. So, or blue tape or something cheap. I'm using my acid-free pH neutral stuff because that's what I currently have. But I'm going to go ahead and tape this down now in 4 corners. We'll start with these ones. I'm just going to push that, just line it up, try to keep these nice and tight, and pull that over. Again, keep that tight. Don't want much give in there. Squish it in. Now I'll do the last side. And then the card with the stickers, this can float loose. I don't care. Like, that isn't something I worry about. Now, these are my favorite things. So you guys know me and my love of teal. It's kind of my brand thing. So finding these teal bags, and they've lasted a really long time. It's a pack of, how many came in this? They are a pack of 100, 14.5 by 19 inches. So even like an 11 by 14 inch, I could include or ship with one of these. Now, the reason that I do this method with smaller pieces only, not larger things, is the bigger it gets. You saw how I was sitting here trying to make sure that this wouldn't bend. If I'm working really large, this wouldn't be enough cardboard. I'd have to put a lot more cardboard in order to stabilize that to where it couldn't possibly bend. Is it likely to bend? No, but I'm so paranoid. Like, seriously, think toddler for a week. Is it gonna live? I mean, they're sleeping it on their bed. The things that the post office and UPS will do to art, and just forget about FedEx, they're just trash. But the things that they will do to your art, it's rough. So we're just going to go ahead and drop that, stick that into the bag. This is where I get really tape happy. Stick the envelope in. And I also am gonna need either a razor blade or a needle. Do I have one up here? That will make sense in a moment. Hold on, oh wait, I have one, okay. So I'm just going to shove this into the bottom corner, just kind of line it up as good as I can get it. We're going to take the tape, it's got a little tapey guy. We'll seal that off. Again, I want that tight in the corner. And then it self-seals there, but that is not going to be enough to make me happy. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take tape. I'm gonna go with the bottom edge. You can see how, because I doubled this over, I'm gonna tape that closed. Those of you who have gotten stuff from me that are watching, did this drive you crazy to open? Did you have a hard time? Because I want you to know I kind of laugh about what a pain this must be to get open. And then I'm going to do the same with the top. That's obnoxiously loud. Now see how right now there's air in there, and I don't like that because when that toddler is playing with it for a week, it would be very easy for them to pop that and it explode in a way we don't want. So in just a moment, I'm going to solve that problem. You got to think about all these things. This is already dirty. Apparently I've got pan pastel up here. Luckily it's not the artwork that's dirty, it's just this. See, because the artwork's in glassine, it was perfectly safe. So taping around all my edges. Geez, I've got pan pastels on everything. Okay, and then I take either a needle or something like that and I just poke a hole all the way through that, hold it open and push on it, let all that air back out. I don't want this full of air. It is just too easy. When they toss stuff on this, it will pop. And depending on where the pressure is and all that, that could be a problem. So there, it's ready to go. And then when I put the label on it, I will go to USPS.com. I'm going to ship this priority, and always insure your stuff. Seriously, because they lose stuff all the time. Make sure you insure that, because if the customer doesn't get what they ordered from you, that is on you. And that also matters. Let's say you sent it and it arrived damaged. Again, it's on you. If it got damaged, you didn't box it well enough for that toddler. You have to know going into this that toddler is going to destroy everything it touches. So, and that's what I think of with the postal services. So make sure it is prepared for that. No matter how good you pack it, there's always a risk of it getting damaged, and that's where you really want that insurance. Now I know with UPS, I was told that if they don't package it, good luck getting the insurance claim on it, even if you package it better than what they would do. But it will, if they lose it, then it's still covered. So no matter what, I always insure everything for the full value of the art. Or if I go a little bit under, I need to know I'm going to eat that cost. If it gets lost, I'm out that. It is my responsibility, not the buyer's. If anything happens to it, it is never. And this is something that I know people get a little weird on, and they think that the buyer did this, the buyer did that, or no, it is always you. It is always on you. And even if you're mad at the post office, that's what the insurance was for. And I know it's still a headache, but it's just a risk that you have to take as the seller. So make sure when you package that. That is why I'm going to spend the extra money and put an extra piece of cardboard in there just to make sure that is in there, this would be very difficult to damage at this point. And the other boxes I'll have to do a different video because I have to set it up differently for when I package larger things. But that little hole, when I put my shipping label, will go right over that so you don't even see it. So not that it matters because I got pan pastel all over it. So there's that. Let me go ahead and move this back now. Come on. There we go. Ooh, close-up of the owl. Close-up that's super blurry because it's out of focus. There we go. That owl is still available if you want to bid. Last I checked, the bid was $55. Okay. And now I will go through and answer your questions. Nope. Hit the button all the way, Lisa. There we go. I'm a pro. Okay. Also, that's another thing. I took 3 weeks. Now, it's always going to take a while before I get a painting shipped just because especially if I have to varnish it, because I have to dry it, make sure it's completely dry before I ship it. So that is very important. But 3 weeks is a bit much, even for me. So that's where I'm like, here's some bonus stuff, because I'm sorry I failed and totally forgot about it. So yeah, that is something that I do recommend. Like, I just want anyone who gets something from me to be a positive experience as much as possible. And if I screw something up, make up for it. That's just kind of my attitude. The stickers are a really fun thing to include. And one of the things that I'm going to start doing next time I order postcards, I ordered a piece of art from somebody else that is like this acrylic pour. It looks like the ocean. It's really cool. I'll share it sooner or later on Instagram or wherever. It's for my office. But anyway, she did a postcard, but she had like information about her art and just stuff like that. I'm like, that's a good idea for us, because we could include things like don't hang the artwork in direct sunlight. Like the things that if someone buys from me, they're an artist, so they probably know that. But things that somebody who might not know would be a really cool thing, like just facts about paintings, facts about maybe one for colored pencil, one for acrylic painting, just different things that might be useful. I'll probably just do a generalized one first, but that would be a cool thing to include in there. Again, stickers are a fun thing. The stickers cost me, depending on how many I ordered, it could be anywhere between like 70 cents to $1 a piece. So that's a fun thing to throw in. Of course, the greeting card that I can say thank you. I didn't even write thank you on there. I just threw it in there. I'm not opening that back up. I failed on that one, but we'll use it as a holder for the stickers. I'm like, man, I feel dumb, but you saw how much work that was to package. I'm not reopening that. But anyway, there you go. Those are fun things to include just to make the experience fun. And I really noticed this too. Oh yeah, I should say thank you I could. Anyway, I noticed this too with when I ordered that painting from the other girl with the acrylic pour thing of the ocean. All the stuff that she included was just fun. She had stickers. She had, what else did she put in there? There was some, like was it a little turtle or something ocean related? Like she had a bunch of stuff, a bunch of little freebie stuff that was in there. Now, you have to be careful that it doesn't damage the artwork, whatever you do include. That is very important. That's why you saw I put a bunch of cardboard in between even the postcard, because if the postcard was pushing, not so much here, but let's say with the owl, that paper, if something is pushing weird on it, it could bend it or wrinkle it. You have to be so careful of that. But it is fun to have, the stickers are flat. That's easy enough. And there's cardboard between the stickers and the art, so it's not going to bend it or cause issues that way. But those little extras, I think, are a really fun thing to include for whenever anyone gets something from you. Okay, on to the questions. Okay. So first question, Python said, I'm starting an oil painting of a tulip. Do you have any tips for blending? I struggle with controlling blending. Thank you, and I love your beautiful work. Thank you. Yeah, for oil painting, the big thing is don't overblend. Let it dry. If you work wet into wet, which is the great thing with oil paint, it blends so easy. The negative thing about oil paint, it blends so easy. So it ends up creating this muddy mess, excuse me, if you just keep blending and blending. People have a tendency when they're starting, they do a few brush strokes, and they're like, wow, it blended so good, it looks so good. A couple more brush strokes, and a few more. 100 brush strokes later, you have mud. Don't overdo it. When you start getting mud, you're trying to layer and it's just blending in and mixing where you don't want it to. Stop, let it dry. I work with a fast drying medium called liquid. And so overnight, the way that I layer and the way that I paint overnight, I will be ready for the next layer. It's dry enough, or at least let it tack up. And that could be a few hours even. It may tack up depending on how thick you layered it. But that can sometimes be enough that you can go ahead and get your other layers on top. The biggest thing with oil painting is actually one of the easiest mediums to learn if you know when to stop and let it dry. You start getting mud, it's time to stop and let it dry. You can't just keep painting indefinitely like I can with acrylics. That's the only thing that really makes oil painting difficult, is knowing, okay, it's time to stop. I know I'm still in the mood to paint, but I need to stop and let this dry. With oils, that's the one medium when I'm like really serious and just doing a ton of painting, I may have multiple oil paintings going at a time, so I can rotate through. Okay, this one now needs to dry. Let's start this one. I had 3 portraits going at once at the same time one time years ago. But yeah, that's the big thing. Just stop, let it dry. When it starts overly blending, turning into mud, things are not going well, you can let it dry and then continue from there. Okay. Stephanie said, I'm working on a colored pencil piece and it's too dark and blah. How can I salvage it? Would spraying it with workable fixative allow for more layering? Thanks. Oh, that's a hard one. So there are too many factors for me to be able to know for certain, but I can give you a few tips. So workable fixatives, not a fan. The only workable fixative I liked was when I was working on sanded paper, which already was going to take a lot of layers. And that's when I work with brush and pencils powder blender products. the workable fixative there is great. I've not tried it on like a hot press watercolor paper. I don't know how well that would work. I need to do some tests because somebody asked me about that recently. But I've tried workable fixatives back when I used to use Prismacolor, so it's been a long time, and it didn't allow for more layers. Like it really didn't help my situation. But it could have been the paper. My paper was too smooth that I was working, I believe, on Bristol Vellum, which is too smooth in my opinion for colored pencil. I don't like, it doesn't work with my techniques, I should say. Some people get great results, not from my techniques. But yeah, if it's too smooth, what I would say, if you've got an area and it's too dark, you want to take a Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser. This is my secret weapon for colored pencil. Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser is a must-have. We can all thank Conejo for this, by the way, because he started sending these to me years ago. The ones made in Mexico had like a lime green or like a soft green, lemon green, yellow green. A green. I'm just throwing out all the greens. It was a green. It didn't have the brush on the end, but he sent me a bunch of them years ago. I still have so many. They were so game changer. So anyway, these ones look different, but it's still the same company. Erase the area that's too dark, because that's what's going to bring the tooth back to the paper. And now you can put your colored pencil on top, and even your lights should stand out so much better. I've got a video that shows you how you can bring your lights back. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'll have a card pop up. But that, when I edit this, this eraser, you can have something so dark that's nearly ruined. This is what I did. If you actually just go and look at the bee that I uploaded from, was it last week? Where in that video, that entire flower, I couldn't get more layers on it, but it was hideous. That was atrocious. It was either start over or figure out how to fix it. This eraser, it's like an ink eraser. It's not your soft, like normal rubber eraser. It lifts a lot more. Go slow, don't rip your paper, but lift as much as you can. Now, the goal with this is not to bring your paper all the way back to white or whatever the original color was. You're just gonna lift enough of that pencil off that you can get more pencil on top, your lighter colors, and that is going to it absolutely is gonna work better for you than workable fixatives, because they are, other than powder blender, and that's on sanded paper, so it's all different anyway. I don't like any of the workable fixatives I've used for colored pencil. But that eraser, oh my God. Okay. Alice said, question, is there a specific brush set for fur feathers for oil paint? Drawing feathers is easy for me, unlike fur. I think maybe it's because of my brush isn't right for that. For fur, you said let's see, fur and feather for oil paint. I use a combination of a couple of things for fur. One is going to be that is not the right camera. You guys are over here. That is going to be a rake brush. And what a rake brush, this one is a tack lumber silk filbert. And what a rake brush is, your fingers, if you're like this, when the rake brush would be like this. So one brush stroke, whole bunch of, I've got pastels all over my hand, whole bunch of little lines. But not alone. I don't depend on these alone. To really get these to work well, you're going to take a liner brush or a small round brush and individually clump the bits of fur. That's the thing. When you use a rake brush, everything has a tendency to come out a little bit too uniform. So that's where you've got to go back through with a round or a liner brush and define it better. Or a lot of artists don't even use the rake brushes. They do everything with a liner brush. But with fur and feathers, you have to think of that as in clumps. You're not just doing individual lines, and that is a mistake that a lot of people make. They try to do just lines, more lines, more lines. No, it's not more lines. If we look over here at this guy, nope. Where did I put it? Here it is. Look at how everything is, oh, that camera died again. Hold on. How, this camera, seriously, all day. And it's too zoomed in, so it looks weird. Okay, if we look at these feathers, yeah, we're back. See how they clump? It's not just individual lines. They're clumps, clump, 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 clump. All of these clumps, that is how you want to define that. Now, there's little individual lines in between that. Also, this looks not that great. Let me pull this over here too, so you can really see the individual lines a little bit better. We've got those individual lines within the clumps, but that camera just globs everything up. But it's still clumps. They're still clumped and grouped together, and that is what's important. And you can do that in any medium with just a liner brush is fine, or a round brush. The rake brushes I like, but if you're newer, if somebody was new to oil paint, I probably wouldn't throw a rake brush at them for anything. It has a tendency to make things a little bit more difficult, and it's harder to control. Same thing, I don't even know if I have one. People ask about fan brushes, and those are the ones that are like shaped like it comes out and then a round thing. No, I don't know. I don't use them. I actually find them to be a bit of a pain. I wouldn't throw that at somebody new with oil painting either, because they're kind of hard to control to make work well. I know, like if you see the Bob Ross videos, he does that when he does trees and he goes back and forth on those. You've got to have that right size brush for the right size tree, and you have to be a little bit more, like it's not a beginner type technique I would throw at somebody. I would say you're going to have the most control and probably going to get the most results. Go with a liner brush or a round brush and just focus on those clumps and clusters of fur and feathers. And thin the paint out. That's the other thing. You don't do, oh my gosh, one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first started oil painting, I did not use a mixing medium. I'm just taking straight paint, and it was so thick, and it was a glob 4 months later of it sitting in the garage. It still was not dry. It was a disaster. Mixing medium. I use Liquid, and it's a fine, fast drying, that's the word I'm looking for, a mixing medium, and thin that paint down. You're gonna get way thinner lines, so that'll make your life a million times easier if you're not already doing that, which some of you are thinking, of course, everyone uses a mixing medium. I was the idiot who didn't know about it. There weren't videos when this would have been back in around 97, 98 that I tried oil paints for the first time. And I had, probably 97, I had no idea, like, where would I have gotten that information? So I just went and bought some oil paints and started, oh my gosh, it was a hot mess so it's possible someone wouldn't know to use them. I didn't know. Yeah, I shouldn't admit to that, huh? Okay. Anne said, hi Lachri, watched a lot of your videos and I am grateful how much you've helped me improve on my techniques with pencils. Thanks so much. Oh, thank you. Angela said, what is a great way to start with pan pastels? What do I really need? Oh, good question. I recommend, you don't need, you say, what do you really need? There's what you really, I need to make a separate video. I need to do this for all of my mediums, what you must have and what you can start with, like the bare minimum. I'm working on those soon. But I got this little kit. It's a set of 20, and it's like a palette that these pop in and out, and this makes it's got a lid on it. It makes everything so much easier. So, but depending on your project, like for tonight's, I used 3, black, white, and that brownish tone. What was that? The burnt sienna, and that's all I needed. So if you're going for, you just want to get started with it, get those 3 colors, whatever colors you're most likely to use, and then I added additional colors with the colored pencil on top. The other thing you're going to need is a set, do I have them over here? You need the soft tool blend. Here we go, there's one here. Soft tools, get the set, get the 4-pack that has all different, it should be listed in the video description, has different sizes, the triangle, like all the sizes, and then get yourself a pack of, do I have them over here? I don't think I do. I do recommend get a separate, like additional packs of the sponge, the covers, because like this one's dirty now, this will need to be thrown away before I use it again, unless I happen to be using black. So, I know some people will argue and say you can wash them. They're very brittle. They fall apart just from putting them on. Like you wash like that's not the most practical thing. It is not going to work out that well. So anyway, those really are all you need. They've got a colorless blender that I always forget I bought. You don't really need that. That's an added bonus, but obviously not necessary. I didn't need it at all tonight. So yeah. As far as I can think of, that's really all. Oh, definitely get yourself some Spectrafix. I put mine in a fine mist sprayer. This isn't the Spectrafix one, but it's this fine mist sprayer. Because the Spectrafix, that's my favorite spray for charcoal or pan pastels because it causes the least amount of shift in color. Most of the sprays that I've used, most of the fixatives, will make all of your colors way darker. You'll lose your light. It's so frustrating. I don't really find that with the Spectrafix, but the Spectrafix bottle it comes in, I find that it sprays too heavy of droplets and it leaves little marks on the paper that are kind of annoying to work with. You can blend them out. It's not the end of the world, but if I put it in a fine mist sprayer, then this is going to give me less of those droplets. It's still going to have droplets, just not anywhere near. It's so much easier to control. So those are my must-haves, I guess. And then I'm really loving, it works great on lots of paper, but Inktense MeWe is probably my favorite. It also works great on sanded paper. I like the Luxe Archival sanded paper from Brush and Pencil. That is also available on Blick too. So, but Inktense MeWe also works great with as you can see. I love it with pan pastels. Let's see. EOS Lev said, I finished a white Pomeranian using Pit Pastel pencils and used Spectrafix, but it made the dog so dark, and I was wondering why. I don't know anything about Pit Pastels. I don't use normal pastel pencils, so I'm not sure, but usually if Spectrafix made it darker, you put it on way too heavy. Like you have to go pretty heavy to make it actually come out darker. Now, worst case scenario, you go back over it again and bring your lights back out. When I used to work with other brands that I knew no matter what, it was going to darken it, but I needed something to spray it to seal it down, I would always go back and do white highlights and not seal the final white highlights because everything was making it darker. Now, I don't find that with the Spectrafix, but I don't want to put a heavy layer. If you go heavy enough, it's going to make everything darker. So I would guess that's probably what's happening, but I'm not familiar with the Pit Pastels. I don't work with pastel pencils, so I can't say there. In that case, maybe ask Jason Morden too what he suggests. He is my go-to pastel expert. Okay. Clark Fine Art said, did I hear you right a few streams back that you are liking Derwent Lightfast White for your most opaque white, even versus the Derwent Drawing Chinese White? Yes, and I have a video I made, was it last year, comparing the white pencils. And while filming the video, showing the samples, like here's the Derwent Drawing, here's all of these, the Derwent Lightfast was the brightest. That, like, blew me away. I wasn't expecting that. So it kind of threw off my results on that. I thought I knew which was going to be brighter, that obviously it'll be the Derwent Drawing Chinese White. No, I mean, I still go with the Derwent Drawing Chinese White, and it depends too, like how many layers of pencil do you have under, because everything impacts everything else. So there may be a time when Caran d'Ache just worked better for me because I was working on top of a certain type of marker that the Derwent Lightfast didn't want to work over. So, you know, there's always going to be exceptions to everything, but you know, there's so many variables. But yeah, my go-to is my Derwent Lightfast for my white now. So, but yeah, I've got a video, I think it was last week, like the most opaque white. I don't remember what I called it, but it's from last year or the year before. Megan said, you've mentioned working vertically due to back and neck. Any tips on converting to work this way? Do you rest your arm somewhere? Sometimes I rest it on my easel. Like I'll actually put one arm down and the other over it. You can use a maul stick or like the glacine that I'm doing. It was awkward at first, but I create so much art that I want to say within a few weeks, it felt natural to me. At first, I worked on a table, like a desk. So I had my arms could rest on the table, like my elbow was on the table as I worked. And I had a drawing board that sat up like an easel. You just have to position it so you can push on it and it doesn't slide back. I put one of those rubber mats under it and that helped. But that is what I did at first. And now I just work at the easel. But yeah, I bet the desk would make more sense. The problem with that, again, is pushing hard on it. With this easel, it's heavy enough. I can push really hard and apparently make my camera shake, but I can push really hard without having it, like, it doesn't move. So you just want to make sure that whatever you're working on is not sliding around and super lightweight. Let's see. Art of Raven D said, likely you've had this question, but I can't find it, or maybe I'm dumb and blind. No, I make too many videos, so it's very hard to find the answers. What camera are you currently using for the art progress of the live streams? The one on the art is an Elgato, whatever not the highest one. This is the one older one. There's a newer one that's supposed to be better. And then the one on me, the one that's the best is the Razor. The problem is the Razor, I can't get both to work on the computer. Like if I use two, it freezes everything up with this many cameras. And I already have a problem with things freezing. It's always this one over here. So yeah, this one is the Elgato something. The one previous to the current one that just came out. And then this one here is the Razor. Again, the Razor is such a good camera, but their software doesn't allow you to use two of them. They didn't warn you, so I bought two. That's frustrating. I just leave one in my office so I don't have to unplug this one ever. But yeah, the Razor is by far the best webcam. Like the blurry background, this isn't software, that's the camera. The lens on this thing is incredible. And it's the same cost as the Elgato, the newest Elgato one. So if you only need one webcam, 100% go with it's the Razor, I don't know, whatever their newest Razor one is. And it has to be the newest one, not like, don't get the one that was kind of recent, like the newest one. It is so good. It is so easy to adjust everything. I mean, it can be dark behind me. This shouldn't wake up yours because you probably use a different command. Let me see. Alexa Studio off. Let me turn these off. All these lights off. It is dark in this room and you can hold on. There we go. Completely dark in this room, and you can still see me that well, just to show you what this webcam can do. Other webcams, like in the dark, let me put this up and I'll show you. Wait, one more off. Oh, that's even darker. But in this, I can adjust and make that a lot lighter too. I actually have auto. Oh, that's why, because my auto is off. I can make it so that I still stand out with this one. Whereas another webcam, oh, that one's actually light. This one's overexposing. This one did not show my example well because I forgot I have them set differently. So never mind, that's not the best example. But if this one, I don't have autofocus on my razor right now, and that's why that is as dark as it is. Alexa, studio on. But when the lights are off, and this is set to where it can adjust its own, not ISO, I mean kind of ISO, but whatever. This will make me super bright. Like it doesn't look like I'm sitting in the dark. I forgot I had that set to, I turned that feature off. But it is crazy how much this one can control. These ones, the Elgato ones, always have a tendency to overexpose. Wade, stop. Wait, no chewing. These ones have a tendency to overexpose. The Elgato ones do. Like if you look at where the boys are, that corner is actually really dark. That camera is just like when it's on auto, it overly does everything. It's, actually, here, let me turn that. That's what that corner actually looks like. But the Elgato one overdoes it. The Razor has way more settings that are so nice, but the software is not as good on the Razor, not even close. Elgato has software down, so you've got pros and cons there. But anyway, let's we go. It shouldn't have, because mine is studio on and studio dark, so I figured no one else had that exact command. Let's see. And I have to say it loud because it goes through my Bose speaker and it doesn't hear me well like a normal Amazon device. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. So, Fly Meeting to the Moon said, I saw an artist website that said they weren't responsible once it's shipped, that it's the buyer's responsibility to follow up with the shipper. That's not how that works. That person, I would never buy anything from them. One, that is horrible customer service. Like like, are you serious? That is bizarre to me. Also, legally, no one can, the credit card company isn't going to believe that. If you don't have shipping, now if they showed shipping information and it got lost, the shipper is still responsible. My understanding, the shipper would still be responsible for that. If they showed that it was delivered, then the buyer's out. Like if it shows it was delivered, if they've got tracking information and it was delivered, then yeah, that would be on you. But as far, like, let's say you ship me something, I can't contact the post office. I can't contact UPS. They're not going to talk to me as the receiver. Only the sender can deal with any claims or anything like that. There is no, that is the most bizarre. It amazes me the sense of, like, just people are so delusional these days on all things, and they don't understand customer service. But that is delusional and not how it legally works. Like, you'd have to have proof that you sent it and that it arrived. Now, once it arrives, if it gets stolen off the porch, that's not your responsibility anymore. But yeah, and if it gets damaged in shipping, 100% on the shipper. And the credit card company will agree, because it is our responsibility to, you didn't pay for a half-baked packed painting. That doesn't sound as good as the word I wanted to use. Not as impactful. But if they didn't do a good enough job to protect it and they shipped it to you and it got damaged, it is 100% on them. It doesn't even matter if the post office denies their claim for the insurance. Makes no difference. It is their responsibility to refund or replace. That is it. It is crazy to me that somebody claims. And you see that stuff a lot where people will be like, no returns, no refunds or whatever. Yeah, the credit card companies do not agree with that. That is not how things work. Even if you say you won't take returns, or you can't, if it is not, and not just because they decided on a whim they don't want it anymore, but let's say you shipped them something and it was not as described. It was a different color, it was different whatever. Yeah, credit card's not going to allow for, and everyone's paying with digitally online. Like, yeah, that's not how that works. That person is hopefully never has any issues. Well, actually, I kind of hope they do have issues so they can learn that lesson. I'm a jerk. Okay. Angela said, is that Faber-Castell eraser in your list below? It might not be. Can you share where to get it? Thanks. Can you get it on Amazon? I'll put a link. I'll find the link for tomorrow's video on the live stream. I'll find a link to somewhere where you can buy it. I either got it from Amazon or Blick. I just got a bunch. I just get tons of them. Like, I've got a lifetime, not a lifetime supply, but I got a lot of them at this point. I'll find it. And it'll be tomorrow when I edit this video, or the owl. I'll put it in the description there, even though I didn't use it on that, but I'll still put it there. Darlene said, I am 60 and just starting out with colored pencils and pastel. Any advice for a beginner? Don't expect too much from yourself too soon. Now, the age makes no difference. You can start at 60. It's not like starting an instrument at 60, you're never going to be as good as the kid who started at 4 years old. Art, however, is not the same. You can start at 60, you can start at 70. It makes no difference. It just depends on how much time you put into it. So you can be amazing. Know that. Don't feel like you're never going to be good because you started later in life. It makes no difference. I've worked with students of all ages and never found a difference there. Now, as far as tips, don't be too harsh on yourself. We all start at 0, and it's not necessarily going to be a pretty 0. Your beginner work is you're a beginner. It's going to look like a beginner. Don't be frustrated by that. Know that every step, every painting, you're getting that much closer to your end goals in whatever style, whatever techniques, whatever like skill level you're looking to achieve. So give yourself permission to paint and draw some ugly things, because that is the reality of art. It is not going to be good in the beginning, and that is okay. That is normal. Not having good looking work now is no indication of whether or not you'll be good in the future. The one thing that I always saw to be a big difference in the students who got really good versus the students who were much slower to progress was the attitude. I remember working with a lady she was working in oil paints. Actually, I think she worked at a few mediums, but she was really good. She had the skill level. She did not have the patience. That was her problem. She did not have the patience. Skill was not her issue. It was being frustrated by everything. This didn't go right. I don't like this. I don't like that. And it was just everything was so negative. Whereas somebody else who starts with less experience, who is not doing super great to begin with, if they go in with that right attitude, that excitement to learn, that excitement of, I don't care what it looks like right now, this is what I'm learning. Those are the students who got better the fastest, who did the best. Like, hands down, the difference was incredible. It was about the attitude, not about the skill level they showed up to my class with. And that being positive and excited about everything you create, I think is very important. Even if what you created was ugly, that was part of how you get to doing the good stuff. So knowing that you finished something, I don't love it, but I'm one step closer. Always be positive about what you're doing, and your work is going to increase, like, it'll get so much better. Now, you said, I believe, colored pencil. Let me double check because I forget, because I ran it too long. Colored pencil and pastels. Start with in one small section. So when I do the pastels, like when I worked on the owl, with this guy, I did, the camera froze again. I can't point at him, whatever. But I worked on one, I started with eye and I worked my way out. What is with that camera tonight? You want to break it down into a small section, 1 square inch, maybe 2 square inches, and just focus there. Don't worry about the rest of the piece. When you worry about that, it gets overwhelming and things just kind of go to hell. You just don't even worry about the whole piece. Your 1 square inch is all you care about. And when that 1 square inch is completely finished, or 2 square inches if you're brave, but when that area is completely finished, then you can move on to your next section. And now you've got this one area, like in the case with the owl. The eye was done right off the bat. Like, well, once I started with colored pencils, it was done fairly early. So I had this one area that looked really good. That is encouraging enough to continue moving on and spending tons of time. Whereas if you're trying to work around and you're jumping all over the place, it all is ugly in the beginning stages. So it's not as encouraging as you have this one section that got finished early on and it looks amazing and now you're excited about it. So break it down into smaller sections and just focus on your reference photo and what you see there and copying what you see. Those are my tips. Okay. Oh, new bid for the painting. Okay. Let's see. You still got 16 minutes to bid if you want to win the owl. Where do we have? Clark Fine Art said, does your Razor camera have a built-in ring light? No, it does not, but it doesn't need it. I wish. Part of me wants to change the settings, and part of me is like, the settings are perfect. I don't want to mess with them. But it doesn't, it will light up. It did the opposite of what I was showing you because of the way I have things set. But it has an option. It also has an autofocus and an auto Exposure, that's the word I'm looking for. I turned both of those off. That's why when I get out here, I start getting kind of blurry, or if I'm like anything up close, see how it's blurry? This one has the ability with autofocus where you can get super focused. I mean, super in focus up close. The problem that I found with it is it has a tendency to blurry and blurry, blurry and blurry. And so I wasn't loving that. So it was getting annoying. So mine is, I think this is about the stage where I'm most in focus with this camera. And then the same thing with the exposure. It would change a little too much. So I just set it where I wanted and left it there. Wow, I can talk. But no, it does not have a built-in ring light. The lights that I'm using are the Elgato Airs. I have the Airs and then the big one. There's 3 different sizes, or 2 sizes, 2 small ones and 1 big one that I use all over around me, and that's where I'm so lit. And these are nice too, the Elgato lights. They completely turn, that one's on the easel. I can adjust all of that, and I'm adjusting this through the Elgato Stream Deck, which is amazing. That's a must-have for live streaming. But I can completely change that. I can also change how cool or warm these lights are. They're so good for live streaming. So the Elgato Air lights, and Elgato's customer service was questionable. Sometimes it was really good, and sometimes it was like, you're whatever. It eventually got good. There was a lot of back and forth to get that stuff sorted because they sent me a webcam that didn't work. It was flashing really bad. And so I was like, I'm just going to return it. But then what was it? They took too long, or there was some weird thing that happened. I forget what it was. It was just kind of a pain to get that going, and they didn't refund it, and it was a whole, but they eventually figured out what was going on and sorted it. So I will say their customer service ended up being good, started out questionable, but their products, everything that I've gotten has been really good. But the Razor, this camera is just, it puts the Elgatos to shame. The newer Elgato is supposed to be good, but it's the same price as the Razor. The thing is, Elgato has the best software. So I've got 2 Elgatos, one on the boys and one on the easel. And they're fairly easy, like their software is so good and so easy to change, where Razor's is trash. But the lens, oh my God, is so good on this. Anyway. Snow said, is it okay, archival, to use color erase pencils to outline the drawing to avoid lead pencil lines? I'm not familiar with those. I would think you would be okay, because even if they fade, you want them to fade anyway, because that's the worst case scenario, is are they going to fade? But it would almost do you a favor if they did fade. So chances are it would be fine as long as it wasn't like a lot. You'd probably be okay. Alice said, can you use a scraping tool instead of the eraser? No, it's not going to rough it up quite the same. It wouldn't be my go-to for that. Clark Fine Art said, I'm guessing Razor is more than likely the pro streaming or similar to those 60 frames per second. Can you drop a link tomorrow? Yeah, I'll start putting the cameras that I use. I'll start putting that in the description. That's a really good idea. And that way I can just copy and paste it every week. I just never started doing that. So yes, I can do that. Let's see. We've got a few more minutes, 12 more minutes. If you guys have any more questions, anything random you want to chat about. What else? Do I have other fun stories? You know, AeroGuard is, speaking of companies with bad customer service, I never did hear back from them. And I don't know, like, did my email just not go through? I don't know. It's so frustrating because I have so many problems with people not getting my emails. So I don't know if that was the thing. But the light, I was like, screw it. They're obviously just not going to deal with that. I'm just going to set this light up since they said the app was back. The app is terrible. It's as bad as people said. But now that it's set up, oh my gosh, I love the light. So I'm not going to post the video and complain and deal with it, because I don't want to return it at this point. I got it working now that the app came back. But those of you who are here last week know what I'm talking about. But anyway, random information that has nothing to do with anything. Angela said, your hair looks so healthy. I remember when you used to dye it all sorts of ways. Also cool, but I love it shiny. Thank you. You know, even when I was dyeing it, it was always healthy, because when I was adding color, my hair being naturally blonde, like it didn't take much bleach to lighten it, and then black, it was always too healthy. I always wanted to fry it more and would actually attempt to fry it because it behaves better when it was more damaged, and I could never get it damaged enough for my taste. So yeah, it was, but yeah, thank you. I was actually just considering recently, it'd be fun to do like pink just around the ends, or some color. I don't know. I like the idea, but I don't want to, I wouldn't do it myself. I would actually have to have it done somewhere if I decided to do that. But the nice thing with, if I did just the ends, I could trim that, like when I get my next trim, just chop it all the color off. So don't have to let it grow out anymore. So anyway, it was something I was thinking about recently, and actually like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I was just talking to Matt about that. Let's see. Darlene said this is not about art, but how old are your sweet fur babies? They are 5? 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. No. 2000, end of 2017. So I think they're going to be 6 next year. Wait. Who wants to come show me your ear tattoo? I don't remember your birthday. Was it 2018? Maybe it was 2018. Yeah, I think it was 2018. 19, 20, 20. Yeah, so I think they're 5. No one wants to show me their ear tattoo, apparently. No, they are not siblings. They're very close in age. There's about a month apart. They might be, they're probably, I don't have their paperwork, but they're probably very likely related because they came from the same breeding kennel that used to race. They're retired. Well, they're flunked. They failed racing school, but that's why I got them when they were only, I think, 18 months old each when I got them. But yeah. Lazy boys. Oh, look at those cute faces. You can tell Wade's here listening to me. Nice dingo. That looks ridiculous. Okay. Yeah. We've got a few more minutes if there's any questions. Or if you want to chat about anything. I know somebody was commenting about betas, how pretty they are. They wanted a beta one. I'll look for a reference photo of a beta. Mine passed again. Betas are gorgeous fish. Dear God, their genetics are a flipping nightmare. Mine always get tumors and die. The last one lived 11 months, which was amazing for me. So the next one I'm going to try, I'm waiting because it's too hot to have one sent, but I want to order one that is like solid orange and see if I can get one that'll live longer. But I just name them all Ben and pretend it's the same fish like I'm a child, but it works. Yeah, they always, like I have such a nice setup. It's a planted aquarium. It's 7 gallons. It is gorgeous. I love it. And mine always get tumors. So I was talking to somebody who imports them and she was saying, yeah, the colors, the genetics are just so bad. So she told me avoid white because the dragon scale, the last one had gone blind too, on top of that, because of the dragon scale gene, and avoid blue. So solid orange is my goal for the next one. We will see. Chicken is good. Chicken is molting and has an attitude. Oh dear God, that bird. So yeah, he's in a mood. Tuna, I'm a bigger fan of these days. He started molting last week before, and so he's been senior cranky pants, but otherwise good. Tuna is the cutest, he's my canary, and he is the cutest bird in the world. When I'm in the office, I just close the doors and he gets to fly around. He's getting really curious about everything. He keeps trying to steal my paper towel, so I have to rip it in pieces so he can carry it because he can't lift it all the way. But yeah, who would have thought a canary would have that much personality? He's hilarious. He likes to sit on my monitor and watch me. I have to clean the poop off from behind the monitor, but on a very regular basis. But yeah, he's got much less attitude than Chicken right now. Alice has goldfish in a planted aquarium. I love goldfish. Let's see. Raven said, betas are beautiful. I've never had any luck with them. Now, comet goldfish. I've had up to 13 years old. Nice. You know, it's funny. It was frustrating because it's like betas were supposed to be the easy thing. Freshwater is supposed to be easy. I keep a reef tank. I have a 83-gallon reef tank with coral and fish, and it's beautiful and it does amazing. I've got 2 smaller tanks that are kind of the support tanks. One's a coral and invert quarantine, and then the other one is my observation tank. Like, I've got the saltwater. Well, I say that and something's going to go down. There's always going to be a problem, something you're trying to solve with saltwater. Like in my case, my phosphates are ridiculously high, but whatever. Everyone's doing good. So I can do saltwater, but I cannot keep a beta alive. A beta should live like 2 years or more. The first one I had was maybe 1.5 years, so he did okay. He kept eating his own fins, so he was just a hot mess. The ones with the long fins, the butterfly, whatever, it's not uncommon for them to nip their own fins. They're heavy, they get in the way. So then I got the placat, the short finned ones. Super cute. That one lived 6 months, about 6 months. The next one was another one about 6 months. And then this last one, 11 months to the day, he made it. And it's so frustrating to see. And I'm like, oh, Do I just want to stop keeping them, or I'm going to try, we'll try the different colors. Solid orange is my goal for the next one. And no blue, no white. As pretty as those colors are, I just want one that'll live. So yeah, that is the plan. Let's see. Raven said, so there's a gene that caused blindness in one of my in beta fish too. Yes. I never considered that. One of my goldfish had gone completely blind. Well, for betas, it's their dragon scale gene. The scale like grows over the eyes. So yeah, he could kind of see, not well. They were like always white. Michelle said, wow, good morning everyone from the Netherlands. This is my first time watching. Welcome, Michelle. We're actually about to wrap up. You can go back and watch though. We're here well, for us it's Wednesday night at 8 p.m. I don't know what time it is for you. She said, your work is so beautiful. Hope I will be just as good. I love watching your videos. Thank you so much. Nate said, hello, I have Inktense pencils I've been practicing drawing with. Is there a regular watercolor pencil you can recommend to try? If you're not worried about, or if you're going for lower cost and you don't worry so much about it being light fast, I really like the Derwent watercolor pencils. Love those. Those were the first watercolor pencils I tried that I really liked. For more opacity, or not more opacity, more light fast colors, the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer, I believe they are the most, I could have this wrong, but I want to say they had the most light fast colors. And then Caran d'Ache has the, there's the Albrecht Dürer. One's the Albrecht Dürer, one is something else. I get them mixed up. What does Caran d'Ache call theirs? Hold on. Museum Aquarella, the Caran d'Ache. And those are really nice as well. They cost a lot. The Faber-Castell and Caran d'Ache are obviously going to cost more. You're going to have more light fast colors. But if you are you're not looking to sell it, you're not worried about that, you just want to have fun with watercolor, or you can even make prints with it, the Derwent watercolor was really good and a lot cheaper than the other two brands. But all three of those brands I liked. Let's see. How's the painting for my office coming? So that is behind me. There. I have not done more for it than what I just uploaded to Patreon yesterday. So I stopped at Glitch and Tuna. I'm going to paint in, I wasn't sure what I wanted and I got caught up with a bunch of other projects, but I'm going to do, I think I decided on, I've got to Photoshop it together, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a cuttlefish and some fish. I want some black and white damselfish around him and maybe coral, we'll see. But I also decided that I'll be back to working on it this week, but I also decided I'm going to do a coat of oil over it. This one's going to end up being an oil over acrylic. The more I look at it, because it's been sitting here, the more I'm like, I just want those colors to be a little bit deeper than what I've got. I've got them too pastel. It's pretty, but I'm not a pastel person. And I know it's going to be darker. Like I went light because I know in my office, it is, I was gonna say my bedroom, kind of the same thing. I feel like I'm in there nonstop. But my office is dark, but it has a light kind of by it. So I figured I wanted to go lighter on the painting. But the more I look at it, it's being that this one's for me, the lighter colors are just not for me. So I'm gonna darken them just a little bit. Let's see. Michelle said it's 4:56 in the morning. Oh, you're an early waker. Early waker? I don't think that sounded right. Let's see. Anyone know how to raise the pH level in fresh water? I moved recently and the tap water is very acidic in the new place. That one I can't help on. I don't know a lot about fresh water. Can you show the painting? Yeah. Can I show it to where you'll see it? I think, do I have it on here? Hold on. I might have, let me see if I have it on this computer. Because if I do, that will be an easier way. Oh, I do. There is the painting. It's not going to look good if I drag it over here, but that's where it is right now. And it's just so light. I want the orange in the water, the peach to be just a bit more gold. Like I just think if I go over it with oils, I'm going to be happier with it. So, and it'll tint the color and give me so much more depth. So that is the plan. That's the one I'm planning on. And the bottom, I might do a little bit of coral, not a lot. I know I want the black and white damsels or a certain thing. And then I think a cuttlefish will be under, which will be kind of hilarious because Tuna loves his cuttlebone. That's disturbing, but whatever. Let's see. Have I finished my oranges painting? Yeah, the oranges were done a while ago. I did not upload it to YouTube. I uploaded it. The photo is on MeWe and Instagram though. I need to make a video out of it for you. Did I do anything with it on YouTube? I don't remember if I did anything with it, showing it. I mean, I know I've shown it on YouTube. I just don't remember if I made like its own video yet or not. And we are just about done yet. It is 11. Congratulations to whoever the auction should be done. Let's see. What did we end with? Yep, I think, wait, is it done? It should be done. Congratulations to whoever won. I will warn you, I am apparently quite slow at getting painting shipped. If I'm too slow, there's usually bonuses included. Yours doesn't need to be varnished though, so it will be quick. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for participating in the auction. And if you guys draw this, tag me in it. I love to see how yours comes out. I would love to see how yours could. I can't, God, I don't know what is wrong with me tonight. I can't talk and I'm awake. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. I'm actually not tired. I got a like 2-hour nap. I feel great. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. I will see you guys next week. I'll have some videos uploaded coming up this week. And I think that is it. Make sure to check out our moderators channels. They are linked below in the video description, along with all the links to everything, hopefully if I did my job right, that we need. Thanks guys. I'll see you next week.
Hey, you. Yes, you. I see all your unused art supplies over there. Oh my god, those brushes aren't even opened yet. Tragic. You keep buying new fancy materials, but you don't use them because you don't want to waste them. Stop making your art supplies sad. Sign up for art lessons for as little as $4 a month. There are over 300 painting and drawing lessons available when you sign up, and new ones every week. Patreon.com/Lachri.
Yeah.